Stay tuned for the Joan Quinn Profiles. Joan served the state of California as a member on the Arts Council and on the Film Commission. She was formerly on the Architectural Commission and fulfilled 2 terms on the Fine Arts Commission for the city of Beverly Hills. As an editor for Andy Warhol's Interview magazine, Condé Nast Publications, and the Hearst Corporation, Joan covered the world of fashion, the mysteries of food, the excitement of theater, and the international art scene. She continues to find people who are on the cutting edge of their professions. Here's Joan Agajanian Quinn.
Hi, I'm Joan Agajanian Quinn, and welcome back to the Joan Quinn Profiles. I'm here with Elec Egan, who has a BFA in Creative Writing and Poetry from Kenyon College. He has an MFA from Otis College of Art and Design. He's a native Californian, and his work has been included in exhibitions from New York to California. And he's represented by my good friend, Elec Egan, on La Cienega at her gallery. So, what happened? You were studying poetry and creative writing, and now you're an artist. Tell me what happened.
What happened? That's a good question. I think it was when I think back to it, it was kind of a natural transition, but where I got stifled in poetry was the kind of the economy you had to use with language.
I don't know how a poet does it.
I know.
But how could you study it? I mean, that was a master. That was a degree.
Yeah, that was a degree. And also the kind of also studying it and being told what to do all the time and how to write like that. I couldn't understand. I kind of got.
But writing is different. What were you writing?
I mean, I was mainly only writing poetry, but.
Oh, you were.
Yeah.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. But then but I was also a rugby player. So.
But creative writing isn't that different from poetry?
Well, poetry was kind of a subset underneath the creative writing umbrella.
Were you going to go into like show business writing?
No. The idea was to live and die as a poet, you know?
Oh. Was your hair longer?
My hair was longer. My hair was very long.
I know your beard was longer.
The hair was long too.
So this whole path changed.
The whole path changed. The physicality of painting kind of helped me through a writer's block once. And then I just never left it. You know, I just never left the studio. I broke into the art studio at college one night, and I kind of never left.
You mean at Kenyon?
At Kenyon.
Really?
Yeah.
Who was teaching there? Were there art? Was it an art department?
So kind of the story goes like I would go in there late at night and get drunk and paint these paintings, and then leave, and we'd just leave the paintings there. No one would know who did it.
Are you kidding?
Yeah, I swear. And one morning, professor caught me. Her name was Karen Snoffer. She was the head of the art program, and she's so supportive and wonderful. And she kind of like, she was like, "You got to be here."
Really? Because she loved your work?
She was just into it. So I got lucky, and she was kind of like a great first mentor, you know.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
And then did you take classes there in art?
I took maybe one.
Oh, that's it.
Yeah.
Oh, and then you went to Otis.
And then I went to Otis.
And you had a great group of painters and teachers.
I did. Yeah, that program was run by Roy Dowell, who's a great, great
Roy
artist.
Dowell, great, yeah. So you come from a showbiz family.
I do.
But was that an influence on your art or on your writing, or on what part of this was it?
Well, I come from my mom's an actress and my dad's a director, but my grandma was a painter.
Oh, so it does go back to the family.
It goes back.
Good.
And my aunt is a painter, and my cousin is a painter.
Really?
Yeah. And
so this was meant to be. You
I
just
think
didn't know until you were.
Yeah, I think so.
Until you were older. Did you paint with them when you were a kid?
My grandma would kind of like, you know, instead of hanging out with people or going to play outside, she'd trap us in her studio. And
really? So she really had a studio and she was really painting with you? Oh, that's good.
Well, she wouldn't paint with us. She'd just say, "You're not coming out of here until you
until you pay."
Yeah, and she'd critique everything. It was interesting.
So when you were at Otis, were the painters hanging together? Or not?
Well, kind of. I went at a very interesting time. I mean, I don't know if I went at an interesting time, but painting was kind of in a transitory place where it wasn't the coolest thing to be doing in grad school. So
what was it? Was it minimal, very minimal?
it was kind of like a lot of video stuff.
Oh, video, right.
Return to sculptural stuff and
art. Was it space?
Yeah, like post-studio stuff. You know, a bunch of interesting stuff. But that being said, there were a couple painters in there who I love. They're my favorite painters still. Shout out Srijan Chowdhury. He just had a show at Foxy Productions in New York. He's a great painter.
Who was it?
Srijan Chowdhury.
Oh, I don't know him. But he was there?
Yeah.
Was he a colleague of yours?
He's a colleague, still is. Yeah, great guy.
So you guys were painting together. Were you hanging out together?
All
with
the time.
Painters
I
together?
mean, the painters were together, but it was such a small program, we were all kind of together.
Oh, that's what I wondered. But you moved to Venice instead of downtown LA or Culver City or the other. What took you to Venice?
I kind of grew up in Santa Monica, so...
Oh, you did?
Venice was the next transition.
Oh.
But...
So do you see the artists in Venice? I mean, that was a pretty hefty place in the 60s, 70s, 80s.
I know it was.
They're kind of moving out or they're kind of dying.
I know. I know. It's crazy.
Sad to say.
It is, but... Yeah, my wife, Harper Dill's father is Guy Dill.
Is your wife Harper Dill?
Yeah.
Well, isn't that interesting?
It is.
Because I knew little Harper when she was a little girl.
I knew that, and that's why Harper was like, I think she knows who you are. But
I did not know that.
You didn't?
No, because I know Guy and Laddie.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah, they're great.
Oh, well, that's really nice to meet you.
Yeah, you too. You too.
This is like an old homecoming here.
I know. It felt like that. That's why I was like, do I know you?
So that's why you went there. So you know the group, and you know the group of artists I'm talking about.
Yeah, definitely. And if I didn't know about them, we definitely knew about them in grad school. And
Did you? Yeah.
That was a very kind of famous era of painting, you know. And now all art.
So we talk about your mother being in show business. Your wife is too.
That's right.
So you're surrounded.
I'm surrounded by it, and I think it's, you know, in a way it's seeped into the art, of course. But yeah, it's a good thing to be in reaction to for sure.
So one of the things that I hear about your work is that you explore nostalgia. And in what way?
Well, you know, I think artists are always trying to mine a new territory and whatever. But for me, that was like, you know, not being precious, being a little bit more accessible as an artist. I find people like David Hockney, who we were talking about, fascinating, but because they're like touching into almost like a Norman Rockwell quality, you know?
That's interesting because it's simple in a way. It's not the right word to say.
Well, anybody can get it, you know? Anybody can
it's
be a
easy,
part of it. Yeah.
Right. So is that how you would describe your work?
Yeah, so the work is like all the wallpaper patterns and the and drawing in new kind of imagery and
so you do a lot of pattern painting?
A lot of pattern paintings, but all in domestic spaces. But
so like a domestic space, a living room,
a bedroom,
kitchen.
A bathroom, a kitchen. So they're supposed to recall different generations, but also place you in the now. So that's the nostalgia I'm talking about. I want them to be that kind of really era-less space where people can, you know, people know.
But I've seen some of those paintings, and it's pretty bizarre. Like you have a living room, but then you have this huge bear.
Right.
But the bear is real. It's not like a stuffed bear, is it?
It's a taxidermy bear. It's on a pedestal.
It is a taxidermy bear.
Uh-huh. But I'm glad that it looks real to you.
It looks real. No, but it looked like this bear was invading the living room.
Gotcha. Well, that's a good take on it, because I feel like a huge taxidermied bear in a small living room would be a bear invading the room. But yeah, I mean, when you paint something, you know, it takes on a little bit more, for whatever reason, if it's done in a certain way, it takes on a little bit more reverence than even it being real. So
tell me what kind of materials you use.
I mean, I'm an oil painter.
And canvas, obviously.
And canvas. Right? And then flash paint, which is a very matte acrylic paint.
And then so when in your palette, what colors?
Am I into? There
I don't know. I just wonder what your palette is, if you have a palette. Or does it change?
It changes. It definitely varies. But if I'm painting a room, so the kind of the way that I construct things is there's a master painting in every exhibition, which is like the legend, the key to the paintings, and then details that come out of that bigger painting. So.
But the details come out in the painting. They don't come out in other little paintings.
They do come out in other little paintings.
Oh, they do?
Yeah.
So if you're painting, say, for a knot, a show, do you have one theme? And do you just paint for that show?
Exactly, yeah.
You just paint for that one show?
So like right now I'm working on a show for a knot for May 18th. And I'm painting a kind of a dressing room, changing room, which is a big painting, and a bathroom, which is a big painting, and every other painting in the show is a...
So they're pieces from this. So it
right.
so it's like deconstructing.
Deconstructing, like a set or scene. So that
back to the theater.
That's right.
But how big is the original piece?
So the original pieces are always bigger than the other pieces in the show. So for this show, they're 7 feet by 6 feet.
Oh, they're pretty big.
Yeah.
And then the other pieces that come out of it?
They vary, from 30 by 40 inches up to 5 by 4 feet.
So where does this inspiration come from?
Well, it all goes back to kind of the writing thing, you know?
That's what I'm wondering.
I'm a very narrative-minded fellow.
Oh, so all this is telling
building
your
a story.
Yeah.
So eventually, I never paint figures. It's only these domestic spaces.
Oh, I see.
So I'm building a house in my mind, you know? And then eventually one day we'll hope to exhibit every room of the house with every detail. And
that's a museum show.
We're talking.
And you know where that is?
Huh?
Dubuque.
That was just one room, but that was a great museum. That was a great.
But why was it Dubuque?
Dubuque was. I love Dubuque. Dubuque is because my grandma was from Dubuque.
Okay, that's right. Okay.
And some family members. But number two is when
Your mother was raised there.
My mother was raised there, but when I was really broke and trying to figure it out and being a painter, there was so much space in the Midwest, especially in Iowa, that I would go there for long stretches and paint in barns and do whatever I did.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, so you actually painted there?
Yeah, oh, God, yeah. The inception of this idea of building a house started in Dubuque.
Oh, interesting.
And I when a place, like when you kind of get your bearing on your work in a place like that, it will always have a big place in your heart.
And you had a show there.
I had a show there. I came back to do the show there after I
and
felt
what
like
did you paint there?
I showed the bear. I showed the...
Oh, you did the bear?
Yeah.
Oh.
So a living room.
Oh, that's really good. Well, we talked about Harper Dill's mother and father, Mary Ann and Guy. We didn't talk about your mother and father, their names.
My mother is named Kate Mulgrew, wonderful actress and writer. And my dad is Robert Egan,
he's a
theater director, yeah.
So, did you ever do theater?
I tried out for Snoopy in a play when I was in 6th grade and didn't make the cut.
That was it?
That was it.
So we gave up poetry, we gave up theater.
We did.
But we've got great paintings going, and I love the way that you take pieces out of them.
Thank you.
That's really terrific.
Well, it is.
And it builds it actually builds an installation, doesn't it? Do you put anything else in the gallery?
No. I mean, there might be some sculptures in the show, but you know what it does. It is kind of an installation, but it's also enhances that moment of discovery. When viewers look at paintings, they're all, you know, for me, I'm obsessed with the moment of discovery when I figure something out about a painting, you know?
Yeah, and then all of a sudden you see it somewhere
Exactly,
else.
And then you start to build the narrative in your head about how it came, you know?
So, what's your dream for your art? I know what it is.
What is it?
I know what it is. It's to build a whole house of your paintings.
That's true, that's one dream. But really my dream for my art is to push myself and just, I'm fascinated by looking and I want to be the strongest painter I can be, you know?
I think the one good thing that's interesting that you talked about earlier is like, what artists do you like? You know, what artists do you like? And you mentioned like Hockney.
Yeah.
And then you mentioned like the artists who were in Venice at the time. I mean, we talk about Larry Bell and Ed Moses and Bankston and Tony Burland and that whole group who actually worked together and created created a place.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at it, they created a little movement over there.
Yeah, that's why I'm glad you're there.
Thank you.
And I'm glad you're watching us today. This has been wonderful. No, thanks, Alec, very much.
Of course.
Thanks
Thank
for
you so
being
much.
here.
Yeah.
We'll see you next time on the Joan Quinn Profiles. Keep writing at JAQUINN1 at AOL.com.